Let's talk about multivitamins and one of the most interesting studies on healthy aging, the Cosmos trial. I've discussed this study many times because I think it provides some encouraging evidence for a simple daily habit that could support brain health as we age. The Cosmos trial was a large randomized controlled study involving older adults who took a standard Centrum Silver multivitamin every day for about 3.6 years. Researchers looked at many different health outcomes, including cognitive function and brain aging. One of the most remarkable findings was that people taking the multivitamin appeared to slow overall brain aging by approximately 2.1 years compared with those taking a placebo. Even more impressive, episodic memory, the type of memory responsible for recalling personal experiences, people, and events, showed improvements equivalent to slowing brain aging by nearly 5 years. Participants also performed better on a wide range of cognitive tests, making these findings especially encouraging. What makes this study so interesting is that taking a standard multivitamin is one of the simplest and safest interventions available. Most multivitamins contain essential vitamins, minerals, and trace elements that many people simply don't get enough of through diet alone. Instead of replacing healthy eating, they help fill nutritional gaps. That's one reason why I often recommend considering a quality multivitamin, particularly for older adults. In fact, my own parents take one because supporting healthy brain aging is something I believe is worth investing in. Researchers also looked at biological aging using advanced epigenetic aging clocks, including the PhenoAge and GrimAge clocks. These biological markers suggested that participants experienced a slowing of biological aging by roughly 3 to 5 months over approximately 2 years. At first glance, that might not sound dramatic. After all, if you told an 80-year-old that a supplement could reduce biological age by only 3 months, they might not be impressed. But I think it's important to look at the bigger picture. Imagine starting a simple daily habit at age 50 and continuing it consistently for 20 or 30 years. Even small improvements could potentially accumulate over time. If that slowing effect continues year after year, the long-term benefit could become much more meaningful. Instead of just a few months, it might eventually add up to several years of healthier aging. And when you consider how little effort is required, simply taking one multivitamin each day, that potential benefit becomes much more appealing. After all, in the Cosmos trial, participants experienced about 2.1 years of slower overall brain aging after just a few years of supplementation, with nearly 5 years of improvement in episodic memory aging. That's a substantial result for such a simple intervention. Of course, researchers also looked at major health outcomes like cancer mortality, cardiovascular mortality, and overall mortality. Interestingly, those outcomes didn't show statistically significant improvements during the time frame of the study. So naturally, an important question arises. Why do we see positive signals in brain aging and biological aging before we see measurable changes in mortality? One possible explanation is that biological aging markers are simply more sensitive. Mortality is an extremely broad outcome. People die for countless different reasons, many of which may not directly reflect the underlying biology of aging. Epigenetic aging clocks, on the other hand, are designed to detect subtle biological changes much earlier. In many ways, this study became an important validation of those biological aging clocks. Researchers expected that improving nutritional status should have some measurable effect on aging. But traditional endpoints like mortality were simply too blunt to detect those changes over a relatively short period. The biological aging markers, however, were able to detect small but meaningful improvements. That makes these biomarkers particularly valuable because they may reveal benefits long before they become visible in long-term health outcomes. When these findings are combined with the improvements in brain aging observed in the Cosmos trial, they become even more compelling. It's also worth remembering that many people around the world don't consume adequate amounts of essential vitamins, minerals, and trace elements through diet alone. A multivitamin isn't a substitute for healthy eating, and no single pill can provide everything the body needs. However, it can serve as nutritional insurance by helping fill some of the most common deficiencies. Current evidence also suggests that standard multivitamins are generally safe for most healthy adults when taken as directed. So, when you weigh the minimal effort required against the potential benefits for brain health and biological aging, it's easy to see why these findings have generated so much interest. No single supplement is a miracle solution, and healthy aging will always depend on multiple lifestyle factors, including nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, and regular medical care. But if one simple daily multivitamin can help support healthier brain aging while also showing promising signals for slowing biological aging, it may be a worthwhile addition to an overall healthy lifestyle. The Cosmos trial doesn't suggest that multivitamins can stop aging or dramatically reverse it. What it does suggest is that even small improvements, maintained consistently over many years, could potentially add up to meaningful long term benefits. Sometimes the biggest advantages in health don't come from dramatic changes. They come from simple, consistent habits practiced every single day.